Let's get lang to this topical matter right now of Saudi Arabia, the attack. I mean, that stunned the world, and people were talking about how much Saudi Arabia contributes to the global supply of fuel. Obviously, will this have a long-term impact or even a short-term impact on fuel prices?
Depends if it's protracted. But I would say that yung initial talks, it's not in the best interest of the U.S. or Saudi Arabia to
wage war.
Well, essentially to wage
retaliate.
War. I think there should be some
kind of retaliation.
Well, basically they exhausted already all the sanctions. So basically, I don't know what they're left to. So their armory is basically left with few choices actually. So pag tinignan mo naman yung price chart vis-a-vis the historical trends. And given the demand and supply, the supply now is reinforced by a lot of renewables and a lot of other options. And like before, it's just oil.
But so far, you're not revising your targets for the year, no?
Well, the NEDA has announced that we're sticking to the 6 or above, no? As
6 to 6.4%
GDP growth rate as a fighting target still for 2019.
Pero generally, oil prices do not affect GDP growth.
Yes.
Very little. It's really the inflation. It is essentially it just makes prices more expensive for the poor, period.
Kong, you were talking earlier about inflation not really having that much of an effect on the GDP. But
Meron po.
Meron din naman?
Yung oil prices kasi.
It's the oil prices.
Yung immediate impact niya. Kasi kung inimpak ka ng oil sa inflation, wala kang magagawa dyan kasi magre-reflect yan dun sa prices, sa consumer price index.
Okay.
Pero
meron indirect.
Sa GDP?
Yeah.
May pwedeng gawin ng gobyerno.
What?
Like supporting consumption. Like yung mga pantawid pasada. Marami po kami magagawa para po ma-offset yung resources na nawawala dahil po, halimbawa, sa purchasing power ng mga mahihirap.
Yeah.
So, mas direct po siya sa CPI kaysa GDP kasi may magagawa tayo. Well, we always take that as a given kasi we consume 99%. So basically, it's what you do about them that essentially shapes the direction and the complexion of the economy in the Philippines.
Okay.
It's what you do about it, essentially, that matters. You can panic, you can be alarmist, and trigger a lot of dysfunctional behavior within the system. And it just makes policy and strategies more harder to essentially manage. But in general, by having a more sober and data-driven policy make or strategy formulation, kayang-kaya natin yan. At this point, kasi kung dati nagto 12% of GDP ang buong oil, ngayon ang liit-liit na lang po niya.
Oh, really? How much na lang?
4% of total GDP.
Alright.
So it's not that, 13.5 billion out of $335 billion.
Okay.
That's what it is right now.
But there are other disruptors now.
Which
For
one?
example, African swine fever. I mean, in the market, no? Are these real threats? And then, of course, there's now the polio. We're just getting through the dengue. Ang daming all of these factors, do they affect our bottom line as a nation?
Pag pinagsama-sama mo, it affects really the ability of the people to trust institutions. Because at the end of the day, really, the rule of law is based on trusting your institutions, not just the operators of them. So, halimbawa, failure immunization. Magkano ba immunization natin in 2014 ng polio? 94% off. So only 6% will immunize. Of course, 5 years from now, you will pay for it.
You will have to deal with that.
92% in 2015, 87% in 2017. So everything here has consequences.
In the more immediate, ito African swine fever. Ham manufacturers are already saying that they may not be able to supply the demand in time for Christmas.
I haven't seen the price movements in the global market. It really depends whether the global pork market itself, the pig hog market itself, the prices are rising. I haven't checked, but we have a very good day, Secretary. That's what I'm saying. It boils down to, do you trust the manager? Do you trust the principal stakeholder?